Welcome, everybody. We're continuing the DATAMITE webinars and trainings. Today, we are inviting Vasilis Siopidis from CERTH to present the topic transforming data into impactful products. And the words to you, Vasily. You can share the screen.
Yeah, let me share my screen. Could you confirm that you are able to see my screen?
Yeah, we see the full, we see your browser, in fact.
Okay, the course transforming data into impactful products, right? So, good morning to everybody. I'm Vasilis Siopidis from CERTH. Today, I'm going to present you a course.
Can you bring your microphone a bit closer? Because, yeah.
It's better now? No?
Yeah.
Okay. Course transforming data into impactful products. The scope of this course is to demonstrate how to ingest data from heterogeneous data sources into the DATAMITE framework and transform it by applying various processes such as anonymization, aggregation, and filtering. Finally, valuable insights generated from the stored data and events. In more details, this course emphasizes and part of DATAMITE components. In more detail, emphasizes Trino connector in order to inject data from heterogeneous data sources, the data product composition tool that converts your data into DATAMITE data products, the anonymization tool that ensures the GDPR compliance, and finally the data sharing logger that logs all the events within the DATAMITE framework in order to generate valuable insights. Something crucial for the DATAMITE is the data products. So with DATAMITE framework, you can create data products, data assets enriched with high quality metadata. DATAMITE enables the creation of data products from heterogeneous data sources through transformation, combination, aggregation, and filtering. Data products are GDPR compliant thanks to the application of multiple anonymization techniques. Moreover, quality is a must. Fairness evaluation, data quality profiles, and user-defined rules provide a comprehensive and detailed quality report. Finally, DATAMITE data products comply with FAIR principles. They are well documented, easily searchable, secured through role-based access control, and shareable across different systems. In this course, we will emphasize DATAMITE data project, this data silo. We will insert heterogeneous data from heterogeneous data sources, and we will explain how to transform, combine, and aggregate and filter your data. Quality and fairness, it's part from another course. Also, the compliance with FAIR principles is also apart from another course. In more details, in order to start understanding the entire DATAMITE framework and what is the scope of this course, here is depicted the architecture of the DATAMITE framework. In more details, there is a layer that includes different support tools such as data discovery tools, data injection, fairness evaluation, data harmonization, and ensuring data anonymization. And these tools are part of this purple block. Moreover, in DATAMITE, there is a data quality module ensuring the quality evaluation and user-defined rules generator. The governance module is depicted with this light blue box and includes all the services for the data governance within the DATAMITE framework. Moreover, we have this data sharing module that includes the data product composition tool, the auditing mechanism, and several data sharing mechanisms in order to share data with different data ecosystems, data portals, data spaces. Finally, we have this red box, which is the security aspect of the framework. The access control ensures the role-based access control in the entire data lifecycle within the DATAMITE framework. And finally, the data sovereignty, it's a part of applying and validating ODRL policies, which is a crucial aspect in European data spaces. In more details, this course includes, oh, sorry, I forgot that. In more details, this course emphasizes on 4 components on this in this purple block that it's highlighted with another red block, and it's the Trino connector part of the data discovery tools. So we will inject data with the Trino connector. This service, the data product composition tool, part of the data sharing module that converts data to DATAMITE data products. Moreover, we will apply anonymization techniques by using the data anonymization tool. And finally, part of this course is also the auditing mechanism, the data sharing logic. In this course, we will use the documentation of the components. All the components are documented and they follow the same structure: introduction, architecture and design that describes the role within the framework, installation and setup, guidance how to install the components, the developer guide, useful things for a developer, for example, the Swagger documentation, the Docker Compose file, or how to build and run the component, the user guide, and in this course we will emphasize the user perspective. So a scenario by using only these tools from the DATAMITE framework, by using the data injection service, we will create a data set by querying heterogeneous data sources, including we can query SQL and NoSQL databases. By using the data product composition tool, you can transform the data into a DATAMITE data product. Moreover, from the anonymization tool, the user is able to apply several anonymization techniques and pseudo-anonymization techniques, and optionally to incorporate privacy models. Finally, with the data sharing logger, we will explore the auditing and the logging mechanism of the DATAMITE framework. Let's move to the components. As I said, the Trino connector, part of the data injection mechanism. Trino is a distributed SQL query engine designed for querying large volumes of data across heterogeneous data sources. Here, for your convenience, there is the URL of the documentation for Trino connector, and moving on this URL, it will be nice to navigate on the user guide. The user guide in general contains explanation how to use Trino connector within DATAMITE framework by explaining the steps that needed from the users in order to create a data set within our framework. We will zoom in order to be more visible. So the first step is to create a data set. In DATAMITE, we have 3 different, let's say, type of data. We have artifacts.
Vasily,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt you. Can you press the button hide so that it leaves this?
Sorry.
This, and maybe F12 to make full screen your the browser. Yeah. Yeah.
Is it better now?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, you can continue.
So, by navigating on the datasets catalog, you can see all the existing datasets within the framework. This is the catalog of the datasets. Here, as you can see, there is a button, new dataset, and in this course, we will create a new dataset by using the Trino connector. So,
Can you remove this latest box?
what is this? That I cannot.
Can you press the F12 or something? Okay. It seems that it's like a software.
Yeah.
Maybe you can stop sharing, try to find out, and then we continue.
Cannot remove it, but I can have it outside of the figure. Is
Okay.
it better now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So at this point, we will start creating a dataset. So by clicking new dataset, opens this tab, and it's needed to define the name of your dataset and the full description and short description. You are able to choose the relevant domain, and then by clicking create, it's highlighted with this red arrow, you are navigated to next step. The next step is to use the method for the data injection. There are several methods: bulk uploading, streaming, database connection, and DB query. In this course, we will emphasize database connection and query. So, in order to query an existing data set of your infrastructure, you need to configure your database. This is the first step by defining the connection name, for example, Postgres, and then by configuring the connection that is mandatory, such as the relevant port, the IP, database name, schema, username, and password. And as you see, DATAMITE supports for different type of databases: Cassandra, Maria, Mongo, and Postgres. So in this step, we are configuring the connection of a database. Moreover, you can choose to create a dataset of an existing database if you had connected your database with our framework in the past. The next step is to syntax your query. So in this DB query tab, you need to choose from the select database connection field one or more databases that you want to query and to create a dataset. By clicking here on automated is displayed the primary key or the primary keys that needed in order to query the database. As a result, you can create your dataset by querying here. As you can see on the query field, it should be included the query syntax. For example, in this sample, the user queries a Postgres. And then you have three options in order to test your query. If it works properly and you have configured properly the database connection, it returns a sample of the data, only the 10 first entries. If you press the execute button, it returns the entire result of your query. And by clicking save, you have created a new dataset in the DATAMITE framework, and as a result, you will be able to see your dataset in the dataset catalog. So, for now, we have created a new dataset by injecting data from our infrastructure by connecting our databases with the DATAMITE framework. The next step is to start transforming our data into a DATAMITE data product. The data product composition tool helps users to combine, reshape, and repair data from one or more sources into a unified and usable dataset. Also, for the data product composition tool, there is the same documentation. It has the same structure, but as I said, we will emphasize on the user perspective in this course. So, in the previous step, we explained how we can create a dataset. As a result, here we have a catalog of the datasets in the datasets tab. But next, it will be nice to start converting our dataset into a data product. In this documentation, just for your reference, you can see how you can create a dataset from the bulk method. But for now, we will skip the bulk method and we will move forward in order to create a new DATAMITE data product. In the data products tab, there is also the relevant button that creates a new data product. By clicking this button, the user interface navigates you to a new tab in order to define the name of the data product and to add a short description. By clicking next, you can start processing your data with the data product composition tool. As you can see here, in the data product composition tool has been imported a new artifact. Here, the data product contains a dataset, the weather data 2026. And clicking on create, you can start processing your data. The data product composition tool offers different functionalities. As you can see here, are described different functionalities. For example, aggregate data by columns, aggregate data by rows, aggregate data by primary key, and composite data products. But as you may notice, all of them, they are disabled. They are enabled on retain specific columns and delete specific column. And why? Because here has been imported only one dataset, and those functionalities demand at least two datasets. So by importing on a new data product, a new artifact, we are able to retain specific columns or rows and to delete specific columns or rows. By clicking, let's assume that we choose to delete specific columns. Then data product composition tool returns the names of the columns that included in the dataset, and in this case, the dataset includes 4 columns named age, name, country, and VAT. And as you can see, they are enabled. The user has to age, name, and by clicking Add Step, he starts running a new process in order to remove the columns age and name. This is the process, and as you can see here, it's ready to run. As a result, is generated a new dataset, updated from the original dataset, and the user is able now to choose the artifacts that desires to be included on the new data product. In this case, the user chooses to include only one artifact, this with the orange check mark, and by clicking Save and Continue, it starts running a pipeline in order to evaluate the quality of the data product, to generate the auto-generated metadata, and as a result, user is able to navigate back to the data product catalog, and by clicking on the artifact to see the artifacts included on this data product. By clicking on this arrow, you are able to see details of the artifact, and on the other tabs here, the user is able to check the per domains, the quality rules for this data product glossary, or to check the anonymized artifacts that included on the specific data product. Back to our course. Now we will move forward to the anonymization process and the GDPR compliance. For that reason, the DATAMITE framework provides a relevant tool, the anonymization tool. There is also the same documentation for the anonymization tool. As I was explained previously, on previous documentation, we were looking the artifacts. And as I said, by navigating to anonymizations, the user is able to check the anonymized artifacts of the data product. For example, here, as you can see, this data product contains 7 anonymized artifacts. And by clicking Add Anonymization, the user is able to anonymize also another artifact. So here we have started to the anonymization process by choosing an artifact of the data product in order to be anonymized. In general, the DATAMITE's anonymization tool is able to recognize and to suggest sensitive fields of the imported dataset within the tool. And this is based on some NLP techniques that have been included in our tool. Moreover, because DATAMITE is a multi-domain framework, and pilots and in general, the companies have sometimes they do not follow the data standards, and they have their own data structure. It's a little bit complicated to recognize automated all the sensitive fields. For that reason, we have added an option in order to be able the users to configure their sensitive fields based on their data structure and their needs. And how this is achieved by creating lists and including the names of the sensitive fields based on your processes and your data structure. So in this tab is displayed the the functionality that offers the tool in order to configure your sensitive fields by creating the relevant list. And more details is needed to name your list, for example, test or list for electricity data, and moreover, you can pair this list by a domain. If this list contains sensitive fields for telecommunication sector or uh, energy, energy domain, etc., you can name your list and to pair your list with a specific domain. And, as you can see, in the data product catalogs, except from the data products catalog that displays the details of the data products, there is also another tab in order to handle, create, read, update, delete your sensitive list. There is a button that starts the process for creating a new list, and there is a table that displays the existing sensitive lists. Here you are able to add manually as many sensitive lists you want on a specific list. In this case, for this list, have been added two sensitive columns, billing info and previous jobs. So as a result, when you import your data set, your data product into the anonymization tool, it returns you the recognized sensitive fields, and this is achieved with two ways: based on the NLP techniques or based on the created lists, if you have created. In this case, you can see that the anonymization tool returns that has been recognized as sensitive fields, the country and the age. The next step before applying the anonymization techniques is to apply the privacy model, but this is optional. The privacy models enhances the anonymization, but on the other hand, it may be complicated for the quality report. So the user is able optionally to choose if he wants to apply a privacy model. In this case, the user applies the K-anonymity privacy model, and as a result, the user interface navigates the user to choose the variable value for the K-anonymity privacy model, and this is from 2 up to 5. Now, for each recognized sensitive field, the anonymization tool returns the suggested anonymization and pseudo-anonymization techniques. And in this case, for the age, the user chooses from the suggested techniques the pseudo-anonymization format preserved. Moreover, as you can see, here there is a checkbox. In the one case, for the age column, it's enabled, and for the country, it's disabled. It's to enable or to disable the de-anonymization. Based on this, the user is able afterwards to return to the original data or not. As a result, if the de-anonymization option is disabled, the user will not be able to return the country column to the original data. And that's all also for the anonymization process. So for now, we have injected data from a heterogeneous data sources. We convert it to a DATAMITE data product, and we ensured GDPR compliance. The next step is to have a small part also of this course is to have a look at the auditing system of the DATAMITE framework. So, by navigating to the user guide explains all the tabs for the auditing system of the framework. As you can see here on the left, there is a tab history logs and contains 3 subtabs: data products, publications, notifications. The data product tabs presents all the logged events relevant to the data product data lifecycle within the framework. The publication tab displays the publication of the data products with the integrated data ecosystem, and the notifications. It's a general tab that notifies the user for some actions. In this screenshot, we are able to see the history of all the data products within the framework. And here, as we can see, there are more buttons. Some of them they are enabled, and some of them they are disabled. For example, here, this is disabled the bin. It means that this data product is still active within the framework. If it was the bin enabled instead of disabled, this means that this data product has been deleted from the framework. And by clicking here, we can see the relevant information. For example, in this enabled button, if you click on the framework, you are able to see all the actions happened on this data product. For example, the datasets that imported in this data product, the actions that applied by processing those artifacts, even deleting, aggregating, filtering. You're able to see if it is anonymized or not, and for sure all those action events are paired with a relevant timestamp and the username of the user that applied these actions. Moreover, in the data products tab, there is another button, see metrics and statistics. From these logged events, we will generate valuable insights for the data product. For example, here you can see you can have a view of the data lifecycle of your data products. For example, you can see the created data products for all the period. If you choose to this drop-down list, you are able to see information for the last 3 months, 6 months, last year, or from starting period until now. In this demo, have been created 6 data products and have been applied in general 19 updates. And more details in the table, you are able to see this for the data products, if they are updated, how many times, and by clicking here, it will display all the action relevant to the data product updates. As you can see, 50% of them never updated, and the average creation per date, it's 0.86, and 70% of them have been anonymized. In the documentation, except from the screenshots, you are able to read the guidance. There's guidance for all the tabs. Moving forward to the publication history, we're able to see the publication of our data products with the integrated data ecosystem. And here, we are able to see the internal data product ID, the publication ID, and information such as when it's created and created by whom. Moreover, for integrity reasons, uh, our tool uses hashing mechanisms, and in order, if you want to validate things, you're able to retrieve the hash of the publication. Moreover, except for the data products perspective, you are able to see your publications per data portal or data space. For example, by clicking see statistics, opens new pop-up by displaying the publications per portal. For example, here we have 2 publications in Zenodo and 3 publications in DataSeller. And as a result, we can see that 40% of our data products have been shared to Zenodo and 60% have been shared to DataSeller. This is the last tab for the auditing mechanism. And for the data products, sorry, my fault. Moreover, you are able to see the most published data products, the most popular data products. For example, here you can see the data products that have been shared the most times. In our case, returns one most popular data product. And the last step is to navigate the notification tab in order to be aware of the actions that are happening within the framework. And that's all for the components. And as a summary, we injected data within a connector, converted data to a data product, the composition tool. We anonymized the data product, ensuring GDPR compliance, and we navigated to the audited system of the framework. But in general, the scope of the DATAMITE framework is to share data. Maybe it's not scope of this course, but in order to have a clear idea, as a next step, as we have created valuable data products, we would like to share them. And how DATAMITE, what is a data sharing aspect of DATAMITE? DATAMITE addresses several challenges through a plugin-based approach, enable the data sharing across multiple destinations, while simplifies the process. As you may notice, there are several automated and simplified processes. And if you want to share your data, all the data and the metadata translation is happening automated. So, as a result, DATAMITE unlocks new data monetization opportunities by enabling easy and fast distribution across Zenodo, Open Data Portal, GaiaX ecosystems, AI on-demand platform, PondusX, and data spaces. So let's imagine that our course is stopped here, that we have created a data product. The final step is to use the DATAMITE mechanism in order to share your data in one or more integrated data ecosystems. And this happens with an automated translation. As a summary, DATAMITE is an efficient framework as automates the workflows and reduce the manual effort in the operational costs, and has the flexibility as enables seamless sharing crossing across multiple destinations. As I said, has the findability, but it will be more clear to you if you had the idea of the data governance, that it's not part of this course. On the other hand, we displayed today the standard compliance, the GDPR compliance with an anonymization tool. Finally, DATAMITE offers a scalable architecture by adopting a plugin-based approach. And that's all aside for the course Transforming Data into Impactful Products. Now I would like volunteers in order to answer a few questions. I hope that it was clear.
And if there are any questions before, maybe you move to the feedback questionnaire final quiz, as you wish.
I would suggest to finish the quiz and then we can have a discussion.
Okay.
So, the DATAMITE framework does not include an auditing system because it does not fit the architecture and scope. True or false? I want a volunteer for that. Any volunteer?
You can choose from the list.
Yeah, I will choose randomly Bala. Bala, you are the one. So the question is, the DATAMITE framework does not include an auditing system because it does not fit the architecture and scope. True or false? You can't turn. Okay. Okay. And then the guy said that.
It's okay. You can write it in the chat. You can write the answer to the chat.
Maybe it was a tricky question because the DATAMITE framework does not include an auditing system.
He answered.
Yeah, because it does not fit architecture and scope. And the answer is yes, it means true.
Bala, can you try now your microphone? I have changed the settings.
From what I understand, I think we don't have this auditing system, right? Because I'm not sure that you can call the logging as a kind of auditing, right?
The logging is the auditing system. We refer to the logging. So if you choose Bala true or false, what will be your final question?
Yeah, I mean, I feel it does not include because in true sense, it's not auditing. But if you consider logging as a sort of auditing, because of the actual meaning of auditing is different. So I know I go for yes. But if it is false, you can explain to me how you can.
Return to finish the question. Not finish, we need next. Bala, yes, here we in the data sharing logging, we explain the audit mechanisms of the framework. So the answer would be false. But, I went to the final question, sorry. Oh, sorry. The question one, back to the questionnaire, is in the DATAMITE framework. Sorry, that was my fault. In the DATAMITE framework, datasets can be created from only SQL databases, only NoSQL databases, both SQL and NoSQL databases, or none of them. And this is a questionnaire for 1 million euros. And we need a volunteer. So, the question is, in the DATAMITE framework, datasets can be created from only SQL, only NoSQL, both SQL and NoSQL, none of them. A, B, C, or D. Maybe the volunteer is Jason.
I would say C.
Yeah. As you probably noticed in the course, we created a dataset and we explained that you are able to create datasets from heterogeneous data sources, SQL and NoSQL. So, next question for 2,000 million euros. The DATAMITE anonymization tool supports anonymization techniques, pseudo-anonymization techniques, both of them, none of them. A, B, C, or D for 2 million euros. Who is a volunteer? Maybe Pedro, would you like to answer this? The DATAMITE anonymization tool supports anonymization techniques, pseudo, both, none.
I would say both of them.
Yeah.
As well.
Nice. Thank you, Pedro. I think you are right. Now, a tricky question. Applying privacy models is mandatory. True or false? For 3 million euros, maybe Savas, would you like to answer this?
Hello.
Hello.
I think it's not true.
Yeah, it's
false.
optional. Yeah, it's optional. You're right, Savas. Thank you. Data products can be shared only in one data ecosystem. True or false? The volunteer here. Maybe Rui, would you like to answer this for 4 million euros?
Let's say it's false.
It's false, yeah. And this is answered previously. So, finish the attempt. Submit and finish. Submit all and finish. Adonis, I will add also the URL of the course in the chat for everyone that wants to have a look. That's all for my side regarding the DATAMITE data products. I would like to hear your comments, answer questions, whatever you want to discuss. Maybe Adonis, any question from your side?
No, I mean it was very clear, and I liked the interactive part, and I think it's important that people join this tool that you shared, and then kind of play like hands-on.
Yeah. Thank you for your comment on this.
You can stop sharing the screen.
Yeah,
And we
for
can
sure.
have a couple of questions if you have a question to Vasilis and any other, please, either you can write in the chat or you can speak on the microphone. Okay, I think that it was very clear. Very happy about that. So thanks a lot, Vasily, for the presentation and actually the demonstration and the hands-on this. So thanks everybody for joining, and have a nice day.
Thank you all for your participation, guys.